So if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, your name and who you are.
I'm Nadia. I'm mum to Zayn Slatch.
Brilliant. And it'd be great if you could just tell us a little bit more about what the daily routine is with Zayn.
Well, basically, Zayn can't walk or talk at the moment, so it's a struggle at the moment in terms of taking him upstairs, taking him out anywhere. He has got a special chair at the moment, and he's getting wheelchair services involved, so it'll be easier to take him out.
Brilliant. And how have you been able to get those services? Has that been...
It's quite... we have an occupational therapist, so she transfers all his care over to whichever department he needs. So that will be taken care of, and obviously we've got the chair and we've got a standing frame for him to help him.
And how much of a difference do you think that's going to make?
The chair definitely, because obviously it helps his posture, it's helped him, sit up, not that he has to sit on our lap all the time. And the standing frame has strengthened his legs a little. Obviously he can't walk and he can't be in there for too long, but he is in there a couple of times a day just to help his legs just work a bit of muscle.
Yeah, definitely. So in a normal day, how much do you need sort of full on care with him to make sure he's all okay?
I would say all day at the moment,
yeah.
In terms of feeding, and also he's got an awful cough which he's had for so long and is choking on secretions. So I have to be there all the time just to make sure he doesn't choke, and he obviously takes them out, whether it's such a machine or manually doing it. So I have to be with him all the time.
Okay. And you were telling me he started nursery school
He started the Redway school last week.
Yeah.
He's only been there 3 sessions. He seems to be enjoying it. I haven't been brave to leave him a whole session yet.
Okay.
But I will in time. But I've seen the way they work with him, and I think he'll be well looked after, and they're really good because all the therapists and all the medical professions are there, and it's exactly what he needs. So I think he'll be happy.
Do you think he'll enjoy being around other children as well?
I think so. I can see now he's visually looking around and he's kind of talking in his own kind of language to them, and I can see he'll be happy there, definitely.
Brilliant. And what sort of things are they going to do with him to help him develop?
They do what they call communication through pictures first. So they'll communicate by showing him an object and the picture of the object, just to show him what that means and what he wants, so he'll be able to communicate. They will eventually do Makaton sign language with him, but they incorporate, the big thing about the school is communication. That's the first step. So once he can visualise through pictures and ask for what he wants through different colours and pictures, then they'll move on to the next step. So,
and how much of a difference that make to you? I mean, at the moment, not knowing exactly what he wants.
He can't talk at all, so it'll be brilliant to know what he's thinking, what he wants. Just every day it'll change, definitely.
Is it sometimes quite frustrating for you as a mum to not know?
I think so.
Wrong?
Yeah, I think it's more frustrating for him because he tries to say things and point to things and babbles, but obviously we don't know what he's saying, and as much as we try. We never know what he's saying. He used to point, he doesn't point anymore, so that's frustrating as well for him. So I'm hoping the school, is a big impact on his life as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Bring him out with himself a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Obviously, I've only met him for 10 minutes, but he's constantly smiling and he seems really happy.
Touch wood, he's a happy boy and he's always smiling, compared to what he's been through. All the hospitals and everything, he's touch wood a happy boy. And
would you mind just talking me through his symptoms of Niemann-Pick, so what he has compared to other children?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Zayn doesn't walk or talk, he never has. He's never crawled and he can't sit unaided, so he has got a special chair. He does have swallowing difficulties and he was aspirating a lot, so for 3 months now he's had a peg fitted, a gastro tube straight into his stomach for his feeding. And he doesn't eat orally at all anymore, so he's completely nil by mouth, which is hard. It is a struggle still, 3 months on, because we obviously all used to have our family dinners together. We used to enjoy that, so it has changed a lot.
How does that change family dinners then? Do you have to just do him before? Or?
Yeah, no, well, he's obviously on a pump, so it's peg fed. But when the others are eating, I take him upstairs because he can obviously still smell the food. He still knows what food is. So I keep him away from that side while they eat, and then I'll probably eat afterwards. And socially, it's cut out a lot of we used to go out a lot to eat, and now, we have to think twice because obviously he'll be sitting there staring at us. So,
yeah, bless.
it is hard.
Okay, so going out for dinner is kind of not possible anymore? Or?
Yeah, at the moment, no.
Okay.
No.
And in general, how do his other siblings get on with it? Are they quite supportive? Do they sometimes get frustrated?
We do sit them down and talk with them and say, Zayn is poorly, and they do know, they're aware of that, and they do treat him, like China, so they do know what he's going through, and they're quite good. I know they're young, they don't obviously know his symptoms, they don't know what he's going through, but they know he's poorly, and he goes to hospital a lot, and sometimes I have to stay. But they're quite positive and, they do look after him.
Good,
yeah.
Good, that's really good. And do you ever struggle with sort of family trips or holidays? How do they work for you? Have you been able to do any?
The last holiday we went on was 6 months ago, and Zayn was he was doing a lot of things that he's not doing now. He was a lot more active. Obviously he's never walked, but he was a lot more active with his hands and arms, and he was feeding normally then, so it was quite normal. Now I think we'll have to think twice. Obviously he'll be getting a wheelchair, so things like that, and obviously his pump and all the equipment we have to take everywhere with us. It won't stop us going away. We'll definitely go.
Okay. But you just have to adjust.
Yeah, we'll just have to adjust, and obviously there's a lot of charities who are doing wish foundations and holidays like that, and they take care of children like Zayn, so we'll probably be going through them and getting advice on what to do.
Brilliant. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about what happens when Zayn goes to hospital and how often he has to go to hospital?
Quite a lot, but some of his appointments are cut now because he started the Red Ways, so things like physio he'll be having at the school, speech therapist and orthotics and things like that he'll be having at the school, so it's taken a lot of the appointments out of the diary, but he still does go to Great Ormond Street a lot for other appointments. Sometimes he'll have to stay overnight.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll just be a day.
And what do they do at Great Ormond with him? Do they just run through all the checks?
It depends what the appointment is.
Okay.
Sometimes it's tests overnight. Like he did have a sleep study recently, so he had to stay overnight. And then again at the end of the month, he's having another test for all these coughs and acid and reflux. So it just depends on what the appointment is.
Okay. And what did you do before Zayn came along? Were you always a stay-at-home mum?
I was, yeah, because obviously the two were younger, so I have been for the last 7 years, yeah.
But how has it been being a stay-at-home mum from those two and now being a stay-at-home mum for Zayn?
Zayn needs more care. Them two, at this age, obviously Zayn's 2 years and 4 months now. When they were that age, they were, running around, playing, like normal children. Obviously Zayn can't do that, and he needs that extra care and someone to be with him all the time. So it has been, and even going like shopping and things like that, Zayn can't sit in a trolley by himself, so things like that I'm restricted to.
Okay, but do you feel like you're coping with it and being able to adapt?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I'm a positive person, and I've just taken everything in my stride and just do what I can.
Good. And you're a trustee of Hope for Hollie.
I am.
What does that involve?
Well, it's helping them with all events coming up, just being a support to the other trustees, other Nima Pick mums.
Taking part in the skydive.
Yeah, taking part in the skydive.
And how, since Zayn's been born, has sort of the charity and the Carter family sort of helped you?
Well, when Zayn was diagnosed, obviously we didn't know nothing about Niemann-Pick. The first thing I did was Google about it, and then I kind of found Helen's name in one of the apps that I looked for, and I got in touch with her straight away. And Helen, being Helen, replied straight away, and she was brilliant, and we met up a few times, and I think if it wasn't for the charity and wasn't for Helen, I don't know where I'd be right now. I think it's been a brilliant support.
Good, that's brilliant. And just tell me a little bit more about the future for Zayn. So obviously you said in the last 6 months he's gone from eating solids to not being able to. Do you know what the next 6 months might bring?
Well, they're going to, hopefully in the next month, they're going to do another check, and just to see how his eating is. They'll probably test something, something small. We don't know if he'll be able to ever eat again. He might have to have the peg, it is a permanent thing, so... Okay. We're hoping they introduce something small that he can eat, just so he's not left out while we eat. And then, he can't open his hands anymore, so he's getting splints put in, which he'll have to wear all day, and also some for his ankles as well, because his feet are kind of pointed downwards. But then I guess everything is what the school can do, what the therapist can do, and something I can't do. I'm hoping that he'll surprise me and do something that I never thought was possible.
Yeah.
So
well, children can do that, so fingers crossed. And how do your friends and family view it? Are they quite supportive? Do you find sometimes it's a bit frustrating to get them to treat him as normal as possible?
No, I think my parents, from their point of view, they've been brilliant, and they were from day one, and they know he's poorly, and they're always supportive. If I need to go to hospital, they'll help with the other kids, and they always have been. Yeah. And
what about friends? Do you find it difficult to explain to them, or really is your friend circle obviously people that already know about it?
Yeah, people. Yeah, it was hard to bring it out. We started telling people about a year after he was diagnosed.
Okay.
We were coming to terms with it. We were a bit in denial. We just didn't know how to tell people, so it was kind of a slow process. And then eventually we started telling people, and Yeah, I guess it was just one of those things that came at one person knew and then everyone knew. And
do you think it helped when you felt strong enough to be able to tell people? Did it lift a weight off?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, at the beginning it was very upsetting to talk about. I wouldn't be able to say it unless I broke down in tears. It was one of those things which I just wasn't ready to do. And then eventually I was, and then social media helped because I kind of put some stuff on there that, you know, help talk about Pnemopik and what it was, just so that people didn't have to ask me questions. It was all on there.
Okay. And another thing would be is how does your husband deal with it, and how does he cope with it? Is he still as positive as you are, or just sometimes
there
he
are
find it
good
difficult?
and bad days. You know, he tries to be strong. We both do because you know, without having hope, we have nothing. So we try to comfort each other, and you know, some days I'm stronger and some days he's stronger. So it just depends on, you know, what we're feeling. And
Okay.
yeah.
What does Zayn like to do? What's his favourite thing to get up to?
He likes playing with his drum.
Okay, yeah, so notice that.
He does. Obviously, he can't open his hands fully, so he tries to play with what he can, the way he can. So he likes music. He likes things with lights and, you know, sensory objects.
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things about the school. They have a good sensory room. They have the hydro pool. So things that he'll be able to enjoy.
Brilliant. That's great.